And we'll now open it up to public comment. Please state your name and address and whatever's on your mind.
Joanne Young, 6582. I wasn't here at the meeting 2 weeks ago. I was wondering, nothing new on the Mart?
Well, actually, the documents, okay, have been disseminated back to the developer, so, you know, that's now in their hands. So, you know, the legal process is moving down the road, if I could say that.
But it's not officially...
We don't have officially,
okay.
What was that quote? Shovels in the ground? We do not have shovels in the ground.
Okay.
Not as of yet.
The other question I have is if Mr. Killion can enlighten us on what was presented from the freeholders yesterday. I don't know if you're able to or not. I know certain ones were invited. I just wondered where Pennsauken still stands. I know what was said in the past, but I know at the time you guys weren't given information, you weren't given a budget, you weren't given a situation, no one had approached you. So I was wondering what has changed since then, if anything.
Well, I think I can speak. I haven't. I was going to give a report to the committee tonight, and we can. But really, basically, they just said that they're going through with their Metro Police Department. They had 375 officers before. They're down to 276 now. Okay, they're going to go to 400 officers, plus 100 civilians to back up and to supplement the officers for doing paperwork, things of that nature, that type of I guess, a lower level of disseminating of information, taking reports and all that kind of stuff. Whatever that means, they didn't get into that. I asked the question is how they affording to do this. They claim, I asked them what the range of the salaries of the officers are going to be. They said 30 to 80,000, which surprised me. And I said the people in the police force, McCain police force, that are willing to sign up for this, if they're making from 30 to 80,000, I guess you're going to start everybody at 30,000. They said no. They said that basically, if depending on your years of service, qualifications, and whatnot, they'll fall into that range. So whatever that means, but they didn't get specific. The reason they said they're able to do this is the money that they're going to save on longevity and shift differential is going to be in the millions of dollars. And I see the look on your face, and but we didn't have any documents with the actual thing here. But the one thing, they do have one shift that makes it 11% shift differential. Don't hold me to this, but the way I understood it was that particular group of people, it's a certain shift late at night. Whatever their base salary is, with this shift differential and whatnot, it kind of increases their salary close to 20–25% of their base salary, with the longevity and the shift differential and all that stuff. So with that all being said, that's that. They called us in, the surrounding counties, because they thought it would, the surrounding towns, the bordering towns, okay, excuse me, not counties.
No.
The bordering towns, to let us know that when they get, you know, these officers and get this in place, okay, that probably the crime is going to, when they have 60 people on boots onto the ground, as the expression was, we might see an increase in crime because they're going to be doing such a good job in Camden that it's going to be chasing a lot of the criminals to the bordering towns. So they thought it was fair that they let us.
Wouldn't they be in jail?
They let us. I'm just telling you what I said. Now, the other thing is, for some particular things, I made some notes. Well, I also made notes about them, but it's going to be their field. They're going to be training at 17 to 19 weeks. And what they're going to be hire people in shifts. They're going to, I think, 6 or 7 groups of people they're going to hire. And what's going to happen is their training, actually, their field training, is going to take about 10 weeks, but the overall process is going to take 17 to 19 weeks from the first group that's hired to the last group. And they're going to start slowly building the new force up, and they're going to have the existing force there, and then slowly bringing that down and building the new force up. Something to that effect. And let me see. The board effective for the 10 weeks of training. Oh, and they're going to start the hiring process at the first week of October. Okay, so if you take that first week and 17 to 19 weeks, kind of gives you an idea when some of these officers are going to be on the street in Camden. So, trying to think here. Did I miss anything there? That's not that. Oh, I asked about what's the deal with the 49%, that if any town wanted to get involved in this as Camden, why they're only allowed to take 49% of the Camden existing officers. And they said under civil service, that's the way that they can do this, because if they take a majority of the officers, it's going to be considered union busting and things like that. So all they're looking to do is that salary's good, get rid of the longevity and the shift differential. I asked if they're going to have a medical package. They said yes, but they didn't get into what it was. There was a lot of talk from other towns asking about, more information, because Joe Coronado is the guy that's kind of advising them and overseeing this thing. He did this up in East Orange, and he was giving them a flavor of what they did, and they're going to change some policing strategies, but they didn't get into those particulars of what their policing strategies were. There's going to be another meeting in September, I believe closer to the end of September, for mayors and police chiefs of all the towns in Camden County. And the other thing with...
And the union reps.
Well, I was getting to that now. Because of civil service, and this is a pilot program what they're doing, they have to inform every town in Camden County, every FOP or PBA, their bargaining units, that this is going on, so they can notify their members, because all their members are eligible to apply for one of these positions. They currently claim that out of the 400 positions, they have 1,500 applicants. Okay, and that was...
Well, two questions, and I don't know if you're able to answer, but the funding for this, I was told grants and whatnot, is as far as you know, is any county tax money going to pay for this?
I believe, and I'm 95% sure that question was asked, and the answer was no.
Because I believe they have grant money and whatnot. I don't know how long that lasts for and what happens when that grant money runs out, like it did federally at one time, when people got police officers that after 3 years couldn't keep them. So as far as right now, it's no. The other question I have is, was there any asking consulting to come on board in the future? It wasn't even brought up.
Now, I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. Absolutely not. I was kind of surprised. I thought they would be pushing the bordering towns to do that. One of the other towns asked a question about something. They talked about Cherry Hill, and they said, for instance, if Cherry Hill wanted to become part of the Metro thing, a division, they would be a division on their own. So then I asked a question, what about, I was sitting with one of the committeemen from Mercerville. I said, well, what if Mercerville and Pennsauken were interested in something like this? How would you pick who would run the department? And they said the freeholders would select just as they did in this instance. But the larger communities, Big Seven, I think it's considered, six, seven, the Cherry Hills, Pennsauken, the bigger municipalities, would be metro units of their own. Their people would be in place and stay in Pennsauken, and they wouldn't go into Camden or Merchantville or things like that if we did that. But here's the kicker with all this, if you think. I said two things to him. I said, well, what you're saying sounds pretty good. Why aren't you advertising this to the people? That you're going to save all this money if you do this, get out. Because the rumor mills are going crazy out there. And you're saying you're saving millions of dollars by doing this. I think that's a positive thing. And you're going to be putting more officers out on the street. It's a win-win-win-win-win. Okay? And his answer was, well, we are going to start advertising that. We've been through a long process, doing a lot of work, research and all this, and trying to put this thing together. So that was the answer. And so I said, now, what if Pennsauken, any of the things, and I said, what about Camden? Have you pitched this idea to the FOB? You know, because I heard from a lot of cops from Camden that they're worried, hey, they're going to lose their job, their livelihood and whatnot. I said, you know, well, you might lose longevity, you might lose your shift differential, but boy, if you have an opportunity to keep your salary or close to your salary, that's not half bad. I said, why don't you just sit down with them and, you know, negotiate this? Oh, they don't want to come to the table. And that was the answer. They flatly reject to come to the table to discuss this. So I'm only reporting to you what was said, what asked, and the truth is in there someplace, and that kind of stuff. So I said, well, what if Pennsauken or Camden or, Cherry Hill, we negotiated with all our people and negotiated the same type of deal, but the majority of the department, what about that 49%? He said, you could hire all those people back as long as they all wanted to do that. That made no sense to me, okay? It was like a contradiction, so.
Would you say, Jack, emphatically, and I'm with Betsy, Rick, John, there is not a prayer that we would even entertain any of this with the information, the non-information that we don't have.
That's it.
I gotta tell you something, I have never seen something full of Swiss cheese in all my life. And I can assure you, as a township here, we would really want to have this chapter and verse before we'd even entertain, okay, going that particular route.
Mr. Mayor, Joanne, if I may, if this thing that they propose works, economically, we're very prudent. We're probably one of the best in Camden County, if not the best, very frugal as far as compared to some of the towns, certainly Camden. If they're successful in doing this, my feeling is, why won't we just negotiate our own deal when our thing 2013, modify close to that, and we don't have to get into the shared services and the cost, because let's look at it this way. You're going to be paying a percentage for your own people that you have supporting your town, but you're also going to be picking up. They're not going to be able to add 25 more officers to get it back to the original 400. Add 100 civilians, you're going to be paying that share of the cost, and that's only going to benefit them, okay, and not your own town. I don't want to sound like, a naysayer, but that's the way I looked at it with what was presented to us. Now, maybe there's more to it, maybe there's not. I would think that if there's some kind of grant money or some money being kicked in from somewhere, whether it's the state or the federal government, and to help them get this, going. But I think clearly that thing yesterday was kind of like, ooh, maybe it was supposed to get us upset that they're going to be so efficient, they're going to have a lot of guys on the street now, we're going to have an increase in crime in our town. We didn't have it before. We didn't have it. We had an increase since they went down to 276. So, I bet all our money on our guys in our town that they're going to continue to do a good job and protect us, and it'll probably be better than what it is now if they're that efficient. They chase them to Pennsauken, we'll chase them to Maple Shade or to Merchantville.
Also,